Peace, peace, family. Hope all is well with everyone. Coming back at you, like I do, with another quick one, but another important one. And we're going to be dealing with fear, the effects of fear, and genetic information and how that plays into fear and the effects of fear. As we should know, most of us should know, that the DNA within the body holds all the information of the body, the family tree, etc. Right? Well, genetic information deals with the information locked within the DNA. Hence the name genetic information. Now, these are such things as traits, like you can look like your mom, you can look like your dad. You know, your mom might say you act like your dad. Well, we're dealing with the genetic information of fear and the impact of fear. But we can use this information and apply it to all different types of things, such as features, habits that are passed down from generation to generation. This all deals with genetic information. I have a video called The Power of You, which I would refer you back to as well. Because as the person you are very powerful in so many different ways. So we're going to get straight into it right now. Genetic information and fear. So let's see what they say about fear. Are fears passed down genetically? Memories may be passed down. So memories are passed down through generations in DNA. May cause phobias. Memories can be passed down to later generations through genetic switches, and in this context, they're speaking on genetic information that allows offspring to inherit the experiences of their ancestors. According to new research that may explain how phobias are related, or born, if you will. So, as my family on here knows, I'm black first. Now, we're going to have to deal with what our ancestors went through. Slavery, oppression, rape, murder, genocide, everything. And understand that our ancestors passed down, not the rebels, of course, but the ones that were hopeless or helpless. They passed down these genetic markers, the fear, okay? And whatever else traumatic experiences they went through. This can go to anybody. It doesn't matter race. I'm dealing with black family first, though. So we got to understand that our genetics, what is genetic information? Most DNA is located in the cell nucleus, where it is called nuclear DNA. But a small amount of DNA can also be found in the mitochondria DNA, or the mtDNA. The information in DNA is stored as a code made up of 4 chemical bases: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, or just AGCT for short. This is where the information is hidden. So if we go through traumatic experiences for hundreds of years, you got to understand the power of the information that our ancestors passed down as far as fear is concerned. Effeminization, because we had to deal with the experiences that were passed down as well. We can understand the experiences. We feel the experiences. Everything of our ancestors has been passed down to us. The rhythm of the universe, the harmony of the universe. But in the same breath as our greatness, we have to understand what we went through, our ancestors went through, that we go through once they pass it down to us. So when you understand the psyche of that, then we're going to touch on that. But here's just a brief picture of the nucleus. You see everything going here, the anatomy of the nucleus, pretty much. And this is where the genetic information is stored. So if I go through, as an ancestor, traumatic experiences after traumatic experience after traumatic experience, that informational code is locked into my DNA. I pass that on to my offspring, and so on and so on. Now, we have a subconscious fear that we don't speak on because we don't understand it. Not realizing it comes from our ancestors and everything that has happened to us. You understand me? So this plays on the mind of the male I'm a man, so I'm going to speak on the males first. Men aren't men anymore because they're scary. They have this fear in them to be men because the world shuns men and treats black men terrible in this landmass that we call the United States of America, the corporation. The black male is the number one target. So we have to understand the psyche that we go through to understand why we're turning into bitch ass niggas. Effeminate men. And this for any race, really. But I speak black first. We have feminine men because the masculinity has been drowned out by the fear, the subconscious fear of being a black man. Being target number one. You can look historically if you hate what I'm saying. You can look historically. The black male is the number one enemy of the state or the corporation. So over years of being oppressed, we have an oppressive mind state, a victimized mind state. I'm not playing the victim. I'm speaking on it. We have a victimized mind state. Look what they did to us. I can't do this. And we become bitch ass. Anyway, even when new genetic material was, this is speaking on an experiment they did with lab mice, obviously. Even when new genetic material was introduced into the group of mice, the phobias were still present in other generations. Even with only one parent to transmit the genetic material, aka the genetic information. Otherwise, their children might inherit the fear genetically and have to go through the same problems their parents did. And now when we look at our ancestors and we look at the state of the black male and black female in the corporation of America, we can understand we are going through the same experiences because those same experiences, their genetic markers, were sent down to or passed down to us. Now, men don't want to be men because they don't know how to be men. They're stuck in a subconscious fear mode of, I got to do this. This is what the world thinks a man is. Da-da-da-da-da. And if I don't have this, the world shuns me. If I'm broke, the world shuns me. If I can't get the greatest things for my family, the world shuns me. If I just step out and be me, the world shuns me. If I let my nuts hang and stand as a man, the world shuns me. This is a fact. They're talking about toxic masculinity nowadays. Like, what the fuck? A man is going to be a man. But if a man has fear in him, plus generations of fear supplanted in his genetic information, he's basing his psyche is based off of fear and not knowing, being scary, which is the testosterone levels are just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And so our women are left stranded. You know, it's scarce to find a man, but it's easy to find an effeminate male. You see what I'm saying? This is why you see the woman and the man switching roles nowadays. There's more fags and shit and dykes and shit, butch, manly women than there are men and women in general. You see what I'm saying? You just have to look at the world and you can see these things. But we don't understand the dynamics of biology and how the biology of this is carried on to the psychology. So here we have parts of the brain that are involved in the fear response. We have the hippocampus, the amygdala, the hypothalamus, the thalamus, the sensory cortex. This is just a brief description so you can see where this shit is playing out on a biological level. We have to understand the power of genetic information. This doesn't have to just be fear we're speaking on. You can apply this to everything else. I'm speaking strictly on fear and the impacts of fear. The fight or flight. Being the number one target in America. How does that play on the psyche? How does that play on the biology side? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm touching on. When our biology, our information instilled in us comes from a fearful place, we start to break ourselves down and lose who we are because we're basing everything, our reality, on anxiety and fear. You see what I'm saying? So a high state of anxiety, a long time of being, it's crazy. So here we're going to break down what they are. The thalamus decides where to send incoming sensory data from eyes, ears, mouth, skin. Sensory cortex interprets sensory data. Fear. Hippocampus stores and retrieves conscious memories, processes sets of stimuli to establish context. Hippocampus. Amygdala decodes emotions, determines possible threats, stores fear memories. So the hippocampus and amygdala are very important. Hypothalamus activates the fight or flight. So if I'm a man, well, let me rephrase that. I'm a man, but hypothetically, if I'm a man and I'm basing my biology is based on fear, my psychology is based on fear, it's easy to see how the masculinity shrinks because I'm fearful. I'm scared of everything. Or I have high anxiety because of a latent subconscious fear that's been set inside. So I'm not going to be as masculine, or the testosterone level won't be as high. However it comprehends to you to get that understanding. That's what I'm saying. So now as a feminine man or a female, I cannot provide the manhood that the female actually needs. So now the female is looking at the males either as bitches or men, right? But there's such a drought of men that the woman is forced to look upon herself to take care of herself and find comfort in herself. So now you see dykes and lesbians. And then you see some females that look even more manlier than a male. And then you see males that look more feminine than men, or feminine than females. Look at this shit. This is what I'm talking about. Now you can make up any excuses you want. This is unacceptable. I don't give a fuck who you are and how you feel about it. Being a fag, period. Whether you're female or male, I don't give a fuck. It's unnatural. Am I judging it? No, I'm saying, in my opinion, I don't like it. My preference, I don't like it. If you're gay, you're gay. But we are dealing with natural or unnatural. This is unnatural. It's nasty. A man needs to be a man at all times. You feel me? Your testosterone is too low. You're chemically imbalanced, bruh. But now we understand why. Or we understand one aspect of why. Right? I'm no motherfucking genetic scientist or some shit, so I can't be like, okay, so you're born gay. I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying it's unnatural and it's because you're chemically unbalanced. Look at this. Like I said, when males become more feminine than the females, we're dealing with black men in a state of fear. Our ancestors, us now, it's just in a different form, the fear tactics used against us, the oppressive tactics used against us. And this can go for any race of folks, but I'm black first. So don't get offended because I'm black first. You feel me? This is genetic markers being sent down through generation and generation of oppression, slavery, rape, pillage, everything that we've went through. This is the result. A feminized male and a masculinized female. Let's switch the roles. Let's take the man out the picture, the protector, the warrior, the soldier of the village. Let's take him out the game. Leave the female and the child hopeless and helpless and make them depend on us. Us in this context is the government. The government now is the man of the household in the black family, and the black man of the family is shunned, which plays more into the psyche of the male now. So let's check it out. The impact of chronic fear. Our ancestors lived through chronic fear. Living under constant threat has serious health consequences, physical health. Fear weakens our immune system and can cause cardiovascular damage, gastrointestinal problems such as ulcers and irritable bowel syndrome, and decreased fertility. So not only does it have a psychological effect on you, it has a physical effect on you. So now we see why they act out as females, feminine men, or masculine women. No matter how you cut it, DNA or biology and psychology go hand in hand. Fear actually may be partly an inherited trait, one programmed into our genetic makeup. Check that out. According to a study of twins, they also discovered non-identical twins experienced differing responses. Traditionally, fear is something that has been thought of as a learned response. Excuse my sick emojis, but I put them in the wrong spot. Don't matter. So let's read over that again. Fear actually may be partly inherited trait. Traditionally, fear is something that has been thought of as a learned response. They're speaking on the fight or flight response. That's psychologically, that's biologically. You see, they go hand in hand. Now, I'm speaking for anybody who understands. Look at this shit. That's a female, bro. That's a female, bro. Right. It's a female. Now, do I have anything personally against anybody who desires their own sex? No. We can chop it up. All that. I don't give a fuck about none of that. That's your preference. So don't think I'm sitting here bashing anybody. No, I'm not bashing nobody. I'm just speaking on what we don't speak on, which is the biology and the psychology of things and the impact of fear. Now, I keep saying you could use this with anything. For example, if you're an egotistical motherfucker or materialistic motherfucker and you have some kids, 9 times out of 10, you're passing that trait on to them. So when they grow up to be little fuckers and you don't like them, you're looking at a reflection of yourself. You pass that down. Probably because your parents passed it down to you, and so on and so on. So family, understand, fear is a big factor in the situation of the mental of our people. I'm speaking black first. Look, that was a female. She trying her hardest to be a nigga. She got muscles, tats, and chopped off her titties and just left the nipples. Like, come on, bro. She looked like she a bouncer at the roughest fucking bar in the neighborhood. But that's a female. You see what I'm saying? The roles have switched. You got shit in the water called atrazine or some shit. There's plenty of things I could have spoke on, but I wanted to stick to the topic that I chose, which is genetic information and the power of fear. Trust me, I could have spoke on atrazine. I could have spoke on GMOs, changing our genetic structures. I could have, but I didn't want to. I can still. But peep this. Our ancestors had to go through the worst of the worst for a long time. In the concept of time, no, but you understand what I'm saying. Far too long in general, and they went through the worst of the worst, raping men, just craziness. And so they passed that down, not knowingly or knowingly. You know, our ancestors had the knowledge, but you know, they passed this down to us, and this plays a part on our psyche subconsciously. It's like the habitual ritual is subconscious. So subconsciously, we're driven on this anxiety, fear that we got from our ancestors because they went through what they went through. And we wake up every day still the number one target of this corporation called America, the black man and woman. Understand this. So, young men, when you understand your fears, you can get out of that. You can break those down and become the man that you can be and you once were. Women too, and I'm speaking to everybody now that can take this information and use it. Understand your psyche, understand your biology, your biological makeup, and break that shit down. Once you break yourself down, you expose yourself to yourself and you become yourself. You understand what I'm saying? This is King. Much, much, much love. I hope y'all appreciate the video. I really do.